Hey everyone, and welcome to our explainer. Today, we are diving into the really strange world of a parasite you've almost certainly never heard of. Its story is, well, it's a fascinating and maybe a little unsettling look at the invisible natural cycles that are happening all around us, and how sometimes we can accidentally stumble right into the middle of them. So, let's get right into it.
So let's just start with a kind of uncomfortable question. What happens if you accidentally eat an insect? It happens. Most of the time the answer is absolutely nothing. But every now and then, you might just get a very unexpected and very unwelcome little visitor.
And that visitor is what we're talking about today, the thorny-headed worm. Now, it's scientifically known as Acanthocephala, and it's a parasite that normally just lives its life out in wildlife. But, as we're about to find out, sometimes just a bit of bad luck can put people directly in its path.
So that name, Acanthocephala, it literally means spiny-headed. And you're going to see in a minute that the name is just spot on. And while a few different species have been found in people, the thing you really need to remember is that a human infection is incredibly rare. We are not their intended target.
Okay, so to really get how this whole accidental infection thing can even happen, we need to follow the parasite's journey. You see, like pretty much all parasites, it's got a very specific life cycle. It's like a roadmap that it has to follow to survive and reproduce. So let's trace that path.
Right, so this diagram from the CDC shows us the whole story at once. Now, I know it looks a little complicated, but you can see all the main players here. You've got the eggs, the insect that acts as a middleman, the main wildlife host, and then way over on the right, that's where we come in, the accidental human infection. Now, let's break this down step by step.
It all starts with eggs. So at step 1, a host, like a rat, sheds the parasite's eggs. Then step 2, an insect, maybe a beetle or a cockroach, comes along and eats those eggs. Inside that insect, that's step 3, the larva grows into something called a cystocanth, and that's the stage that's actually infectious. The whole cycle completes at step 4, when another rat eats that infected insect, and the parasite finally gets to mature into an adult.
So, where do we fit into this picture? You probably noticed we weren't really part of that nice, neat cycle. And that's because, just like it says here, we are purely accidental hosts. We just wander into this creature's story completely by mistake.
And this slide just nails the difference perfectly. Over on the left, you've got the natural hosts, animals like rats, swine, raccoons, basically where the worm is supposed to end up. But on the right, you've got us. The CDC calls this an aberrant human infection, which is really just a very technical way of saying, whoa, you are not supposed to be here.
So how does this aberrant infection actually happen? Well, it's pretty simple, really. It happens by eating an infected insect. This might be in places where insects are a part of the local diet, or, more commonly, when a curious toddler accidentally puts a bug in their mouth. The few cases that have been recorded in the US, for instance, were connected to a species of the worm that's super common in the local raccoon population.
Now, getting infected with this parasite is not a subtle experience. The symptoms can be pretty severe, but as we're about to see, figuring out what's actually going on can be a real medical puzzle for doctors.
The number one symptom is intense, severe abdominal pain. And we are not talking about a minor stomach ache here. Patients report really debilitating pain, and there is a very physical, very real reason for that.
This quote from the CDC explains exactly why it hurts so much. Remember that thorny-headed name? Well, the worm has this thing called a proboscis, kind of like a snout, and it's covered in these sharp, spiny hooks. It uses this armed proboscis to literally anchor itself into the wall of your intestine. It's that physical damage that causes such extreme pain.
You'd think with pain that severe, it would be pretty easy to figure out what's causing it, right? So, why is this so tough for doctors to diagnose? And here is the absolute core of the problem. Because we're accidental hosts, the parasite basically gets lost. It doesn't know what to do. In a natural host, like a rat, it would grow up and produce eggs. But inside a human, it rarely, if ever, matures enough to produce any eggs at all. And since the standard test for parasites is to look for eggs in a stool sample, well, no eggs means no evidence. It makes a diagnosis incredibly difficult.
Okay, so we've followed this worm's pretty wild journey from wildlife to an insect and then into a very unlucky person. We've seen the kind of damage it can cause and why it's so tricky to find. So what's the big takeaway from all of this?
You know, the story of the thorny-headed worm is really a powerful reminder that we share our world with just countless other organisms, and they are all following their own complex life cycles. And every once in a while, we can accidentally cross paths with these hidden cycles, sometimes with some pretty painful consequences. It's a fascinating, if maybe a little unsettling, peek into the much wider natural world.
All of the information we went over in this explainer was compiled using a Gemini deep search. If you want a complete list of our sources, including those CDC documents we mentioned, you can find the linked Notebook LM document right down in the description below.
And that is the thorny-headed worm. So what topics should we break down for you next? Let us know what you're curious about in the comments. And of course, if you enjoyed this explainer, make sure you subscribe for more. Thanks for watching.